Hello, I'm Greg the Nerd Historian, and this week we are celebrating the passionate, protesting prose of a Puerto Rican poet, the prophetic proverbs of a pioneering cyberpunk progenitor, and the frames of a fearless forger of fantasy realms. It's the Speculative Fiction Almanac. It is the week of February 5th through the 11th, and I want to start off by thanking all the new subscribers. We had about 8 in the past week. Really excited to have you guys here. This is a dreary time of year, at least in my part of the world, but we have some great, fantastic authors to share with you to help you beat those post-groundhog pre-spring blues. Each week on this channel, we throw a birthday party and celebrate those creators who ask, what if? Speculative fiction covers science fiction, fantasy, horror, all the things in between. And if you're not much of a reader, but you like movies where the incredible, the exotic, and the amazing happen, then I hope that you get excited to pick up a book after watching this episode. I've made this video to help you get started reading ebooks on your phone. There's also a link in the description. If you see something you like, affiliate links are in the description so you can purchase a book and support the show. Now let's celebrate some birthdays. Feliz cumpleaños to Giannina Braschi. Giannina's writing isn't normally categorized as speculative fiction, but she writes in the form of magical realism, which is very close, like in her book, The United States of Banana. From the Goodreads description, main character Sesamundo has been imprisoned for more than 100 years in the Dungeon of Liberty, hidden away by his father, the King of the United States of Banana, for the simple crime of being born. But when the king remarries by means of reconciliation, he frees Sesamundo and makes Puerto Rico the 51st state, United States of Banana. Pretty appealing.
Banana.
Also on February 5th, happy birthday to beat poet and novelist William S. Burroughs. He wrote some extraordinary books, but I do have to note that he did shoot his wife and kill her when he drunkenly tried to play William Tell and shoot a shot glass off her head. He also put a curse on the London headquarters of the Church of Scientology. I feel like those two stories really give you a sense of the eccentric brain that possessed William S. Burroughs. If you like shows like Twin Peaks or games like Silent Hill, but wish they were a little weirder, then I would recommend his books The Nova Express, The Soft Machine, or Naked Lunch. 196 years ago, on February 8th, the oldest author on this episode and one of the earliest writers of science fiction was born. Jules Verne, who wrote books that most people know but haven't read. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Journey to the Center of the Earth, and Around the World in 80 Days. All these books are still in print, and he inspired generations of science fiction writers. Also on February 8th, happy birthday to Mary Robinette Kowal. Her Lady Astronaut series follows an alternate timeline where a meteor crash in 1955 accelerates climate change and makes the space race not just a competition between the United States and Russia, but a literal race for survival. If she ever watches this episode, thank you for your service to the science fiction community. You have a truly impressive resume. February 9th, happy birthday to Frank Frazetta, who may be the most influential fantasy artist of all time. I remember seeing a poster in a neighbor's room when I was 6 years old and thinking, I want to watch that movie. It wasn't a movie, it was an album cover poster of Molly Hatchet, but there was a whole fantasy epic suggested by just this one image. Story's worth 1,000 words, and Frank Frazetta has told literally thousands of stories. Happy birthday on February 10th to Saara El-Arifi, who is the newest and youngest author on this episode. Her debut novel from 2022, The Final Strife, is a power politics, fantasy romance inspired by Arabic and African mythology. Since then, she's had 4 books published, with another one scheduled for later this year and another one scheduled for next year. If you want to catch a rising star, wish Saara happy birthday on Instagram. And lastly, if you like Cyberpunk 2077, Ready Player One, Blade Runner, The Matrix, Ghost in the Shell, Altered Carbon, Deus Ex, Watch Dogs, then on February 10th, pay homage and wish happy birthday to John Shirley, who was one of the very first cyberpunk authors. William Gibson, who wrote Neuromancer. If you don't know Neuromancer, I've got it on my shelf, but I won't dig it out. Read Neuromancer and read John Shirley. William Gibson, who wrote the first great cyberpunk novel, called him the patient zero of cyberpunk. the locus of the virus. And this week I was really torn into which book to give you a glimpse into. Every week I try and read at least one thing from each author, and I was really torn between the original by Mary Robinette Kowal and City Come A-Walkin by John Shirley. In the original, Holly wakes up finding out that one, she's a clone, and two, that the original Holly, against all rationale and logic, murdered her husband, and the clone Holly has 4 days to track down and kill the original Holly / bring her to justice. If she can, she gets to pick up on Holly's life. If she can't, her body breaks down and disintegrates. Not only that, but she's been trained to kill, so it's a nice cross between Blade Runner and The Bourne Ultimatum. And even though this was an amazing, great book that she co-wrote with Brandon Sanderson, probably the world's foremost fantasy author right now, the book that I instead decided to give you a glimpse into by storyboarding, a brief summary of, is City Come A-Walkin by John Shirley. We find the protagonist, Sonia, known to the music scene as Cats, listening to playback of the band's session in a recording studio. They cut the track a week ago, paid for the studio time, hoping that a good record would land a recording contract. There's a voice in the mix that wasn't there in the recording. Sonia says to the engineer, "We gotta clean this up." So he isolates it. She puts the headphones back on. The voice comes through, now mixed, to stand out from the music. It speaks to her.
"Hello, Cats."
This isn't someone speaking now. This was a signal buried in the mix. She knows the voice. She knows him.
"Over here, the other side is different."
He tries to describe it, the other side of death.
"Things are going on here."
Things are happening, and he needs to explain them to Cats. He's clinging to the membrane between this world and the next because of the cities. The overmind of the cities, the psychic cord that connects LA to Chicago to New York to London, Beijing, Johannesburg, Moscow, Tokyo, Rio. They're all networked in a psycho-civilization spiderweb. Cats takes off her earphones. She knows this voice. It's speaking to her from beyond the grave. She puts the headphones back on and listens to the story. Did you have a good time? Let me know with a like. If you would like to catch up with more creators next week, including a nonfiction author whose books are way, way weirder than William S. Burroughs, the king of books, and who else do I have? Oh, my gosh, the director who failed to make Dune, but actually, truly, I'm not even making this up, revolutionized science fiction filmmaking. If you like Terminator, if you like Star Wars, if you like Dune, any sci-fi movie, big budget, alien that's come out in the last 30, 40 years has been influenced by this guy and his failure to make Dune. Incredible story. Super excited to celebrate his birthday. If that sounds interesting to you, hit that subscribe, hit that notify button. I'll be bringing it next week. Again, I'm Greg the Nerd Historian. If you were excited to read something, please let me know in the comments. I would love to talk to you about it. This is the Speculative Fiction Almanac, and until next time, keep reading.